Before the first school bell rang, Joseph was already at work. Every morning, he unlocked classrooms, swept the hallways, and prepared the school for another day of learning. While students dreamed of successful futures, Joseph quietly worked to help them reach those dreams even though no one knew it. As students rushed through the school gates, very few noticed Joseph. Some greeted him with a smile, but others walked past without even looking at him. A few students whispered and laughed, believing that cleaning classrooms was a job without importance. Joseph simply smiled and continued his work, knowing that true character is shown through actions, not opinions. Every month, on the same quiet afternoon, Joseph walked to the principal's office carrying a small brown envelope. He would gently place it on the desk, smile, and quietly leave without saying a word. No student ever knew what was inside that envelope. Among the hundreds of students was Amina, a bright, 16-year-old girl who dreamed of becoming a doctor. She studied harder than anyone else, but a heavy burden weighed on her heart. Her family could no longer afford her school fees. Unless something changed, this would be her final week at the school. The next morning, Amina was asked to report to the principal's office. Her heart raced as she walked down the hallway. She believed she was about to be told to leave school because of her unpaid fees. With trembling hands, she knocked softly on the office door. Amina slowly stepped into the office, expecting the worst. Instead, the principal smiled warmly and said, "Amina, I have good news. Your school fees have been fully paid." She stood frozen in disbelief. Tears filled her eyes as she whispered, "Who paid them?" The principal gently replied, "The person wishes to remain anonymous." As Amina walked out of the principal's office with tears of joy, Joseph quietly mopped the hallway just a few steps away. She smiled politely and thanked him for keeping the school so clean before continuing to class. Joseph simply smiled back and wished her a wonderful day. Neither Amina nor the other students knew that the humble janitor standing before them was the reason her dream was still alive. A few days later, another student received the same unexpected news, then another and another. Every time a family thought their child's education had come to an end, an anonymous gift arrived just in time. Whispers spread throughout the school about a mysterious guardian who never asked for recognition. That evening, after the last student had gone home, the principal found Joseph finishing his work in the quiet courtyard. With deep gratitude, he said, "Joseph, one day these students deserve to know what you've done for them." Joseph smiled gently and replied, "If they graduate with hope and build a better future, that's all the thanks I'll ever need." Graduation day finally arrived. The school campus was filled with excitement as students, parents, teachers, and guests gathered to celebrate years of hard work. Proud families took photographs while teachers welcomed everyone with warm smiles. As the ceremony was about to begin, no one realized that the greatest moment of the day would not be the presentation of certificates, but the revelation of a hero who had quietly changed countless lives. The principal walked to the podium and welcomed everyone to the graduation and prize-giving ceremony. After congratulating the students, he paused for a moment and looked across the audience. Then he said, "Before we present today's certificates, there is one person this school must first honor." Confused whispers spread through the crowd as parents, teachers, and students wondered who he was talking about. The principal adjusted the microphone and looked across the silent audience. For more than 10 years, one person has quietly paid school fees for students who were about to leave this school because their families could not afford them. The audience gasped in surprise. In surprise, parents looked at one another. Students whispered among themselves, and everyone began searching the crowd, expecting to see a wealthy businessman or a famous guest. The principal paused, allowing the silence to fill the school grounds. Then, with a warm smile, he looked toward the back of the audience and said, "The person we are honoring today is our school janitor, Joseph. Joseph, would you please come to the stage?" For a moment, no one moved. Then hundreds of eyes turned toward the humble man standing beside his broom. Joseph looked around in surprise, quietly placed his broom against the wall, and slowly began walking toward the stage. As Joseph stepped onto the stage, the principal placed a gentle hand on his shoulder and turned to the audience. For more than 10 years, this humble man has quietly paid school fees for students whose dreams were slipping away. He never asked for recognition. He never wanted applause. He simply believed that no child should lose an education because of poverty. The entire school fell silent. Many students stared at Joseph in disbelief as they realized the quiet janitor they had passed every day had been changing lives all along. Amina slowly stood from her seat, tears streaming down her face. Holding back emotion, she walked toward the stage and looked at Joseph. "I was one of those students," she said softly. "When I thought I would never finish school, someone paid my fees. I never knew it was you." One by one, other former and current students stood up. Each carried a different story, but they all shared the same words. For a few seconds, no one spoke. Then one teacher slowly stood and began to applaud. Another teacher followed, then a parent, then every student. Within moments, the entire school was on its feet, applauding the humble janitor who had quietly changed so many lives. Joseph wiped away a tear, overwhelmed by a moment he had never expected. As the applause slowly faded, Joseph stepped toward the microphone. Wiping away a tear, he smiled at the students, parents, and teachers. "I never helped anyone to be recognized," he said softly. "I simply believe that every child deserves a chance to learn, to dream, and to build a better future. If even one student leaves the school believing in themselves, then my work has been worth every moment." The audience listened in complete silence, deeply moved by the words of a man whose greatest achievement was changing lives without expecting anything in return. As Joseph stepped away from the microphone, the head prefect walked onto the stage, carrying a beautifully wrapped gift. Smiling through tears, the student said, "Mr. Joseph, this can never repay what you've done for us, but we hope it reminds you that your kindness will always be remembered." Joseph slowly opened the gift. Inside was a beautifully framed plaque that read, "To Joseph, thank you for believing in us before we believed in ourselves. Your kindness changed our lives forever." Unable to hold back his emotions, Joseph embraced the DOT students as the audience applauded once again. Several years later, the seeds of Joseph's kindness had grown into lives filled with purpose. Amina had fulfilled her dream of becoming a doctor, treating patients with compassion every day. Another student became an engineer, helping build stronger communities. Another returned as a teacher, inspiring the next generation. Though they followed different paths, they all carried one lesson in their hearts. One act of kindness can change a lifetime. Joseph never became rich. His name never appeared in newspapers, and he never asked the world to notice him. Yet because one humble man chose kindness over recognition, countless dreams were saved. Families found hope, and future generations were changed forever. Never judge a person's value by their job or appearance. Sometimes the quietest people leave the greatest mark on the world. Kindness is not measured by how many people see it, but by how many lives it changes. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more inspiring animated stories.